I'm available 24/7 to help solve issues.
Right.
Call me 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I don't care.
Being the richest man in the world sure has its pros and cons, but for a guy like Elon Musk, an enduring business would not exist without an impeccable work ethic. Even at such a young age, his dedication to his craft speaks for itself when he taught himself programming. He loved computer games so much, and he figured if he wrote software and sold it, he'll be able to buy more games. True enough, at age 12, he created a video game called Blastar, which he eventually sold to a local magazine for $500. But unlike most renowned businessmen, Musk was not handed his companies of today. He came from an average family in Pretoria, South Africa, where he rarely saw his busy parents, to the point where he says that he was raised by books. While Musk admits that he's naturally good at engineering because he inherited it from his father, who was an electromechanical engineer, he had a particularly estranged relationship with the man. He even goes on to say that he was such a terrible human being, and that when Musk decided to move to Canada to build his life, his dad said that he'll be back in 3 months and that he was never going to make it. Now, he's the richest person in the world, with a total net worth of $251 billion. Elon Musk has managed to be at the top of high-risk, high-reward industries, with car manufacturing at Tesla and rocket engineering with SpaceX. Not to mention that he is also very involved with several other big-ticket businesses, like The Boring Company and Neuralink.
At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
So how does he do it? He has incredible goals, not just for his businesses, but for humanity as well. And he still manages to find time to spend with his children and voice out his opinions on Twitter. Whatever he's doing right now to juggle multiple global companies is not some rocket science formula. Of course, it does help that he's a billionaire and has resources to help him in his daily schedule. But he wasn't the richest man on day one. He is famously known to work 16 hours a day, even going to 100 to 120 hours per week during a time when Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy. But more on that later. It's all about his work ethic and his drive to look at the big picture and figure out how to make an impact to change the world. While his productivity and time management skills are being applied on a much grander scale, his methods can be easily applied by any regular person to stay on top of their everyday life. Let's start simple. How do you manage your day? Are you the type to complain about not having the time to go to the gym or spend time with your family? A famous anecdote on the internet says Musk divides his time in 5-minute increments. But he has actually denied this on his personal Twitter, saying, "I definitely don't do this 5-minute thing. Need to have long, uninterrupted times to think. Can't be creative otherwise." While there isn't any truth to the 5-minute rule, one method that Musk and most billionaires use is the time boxing method. Time boxing is a powerful time management tool that allows you to divide your day into specific slots. It requires a bit of advanced planning and self-reflection on your part, but the results will speak for themselves if you decide to commit to this method. Let's say you have a running to-do list with all of your pending tasks for the month. At the beginning of each day, prioritize the tasks and goals you want to achieve in the next 24 hours. You then need to estimate how many minutes or how many hours you need to complete each task. Be as realistic as possible. If you need to go to the gym, consider your commute time or how long does it take you to drive there. If you're writing an article, you're not immediately jumping into an empty document. You also need time for research. It's also recommended that you schedule your breaks and downtimes because we all need time for rest as well. Time boxing forces you to plan ahead and prioritize your tasks, making sure that you're setting up yourself for success right from the get-go. If you're a night owl, then you can even do this before you go to bed, so you wake up ready to face the day. It's also important to think about what you do first thing in the morning. For Elon Musk, if there's a daily habit that has greatly impacted his life, it's the simple act of showering. This really ties into his notion that uninterrupted time for thinking is crucial in his decision-making process. Being the CEO of different companies, Musk is also very particular about how he communicates with the people he works with. He prefers communicating via email, and in one of his emails to Tesla employees, he orders them to stop using acronyms and jargon because we don't want people to have a glossary just to function at Tesla. He's not a big fan of long, extensive meetings or any bureaucracy that hinders communication and how he receives updates from his employees. In the same email he sent to employees where he laid out his rules for productivity, he says to get rid of frequent meetings unless you are dealing with an extremely urgent matter. Walk out of a meeting or drop off a call as soon as it's obvious you aren't adding value. It is not rude to make someone stay and waste their time. This is just another example of how time is of the essence for someone like Elon Musk, and we could all learn from the way he values every second of it. Garrett Reisman, one of his senior advisors at SpaceX, testifies to his work ethic, saying that while Musk sets very aggressive timelines for his teams, he is always focused on what they are working on. He gets right to the point and does not sit around to small talk with anyone.
He measures pretty much every major decision by whether or not it brings the day when we have a self-sustainable colony on Mars, sooner or later. That's the prism by which he makes every single decision he makes it through that prism.
Musk is very committed to showing up, a characteristic that we all should aspire to be. A lot of people assume that he's always just on social media, doing press conferences, or working on the executive part of his business. But 80% of his time is still spent on engineering and design. In the years from 2017 to 2019, Musk devoted 100% of his time and focus to keep Tesla from going under. All 7 days of the week, he's sleeping in the factory, working in the paint shop, General Assembly, and anywhere else just to save the company. While he was successful in keeping Tesla away from bankruptcy, these 3 years of hard work were some of the most painful years of his life.
No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. Should not work this hard. They should not do this. This is very painful.
Painful in what sense?
It hurts my brain and my heart.
Musk teaches us a lesson, both personal and career-wise. While starting a business requires you to have a high pain tolerance for the sleepless nights of problem solving, burning yourself out will not do you any good.
Failure is essentially irrelevant unless it is catastrophic.
This type of dedication leads us to one of his main principles when it comes to maximizing his time and output.
Say focus on signal over noise.
Tesla hardly spends money on advertising. Instead, the company puts most of its budget on manufacturing, design, and research and development. In a world full of noise and distractions, it's easy for us to lose sight of what actually matters. We're always scrolling through our phones, consuming content all over social media, and at the end of the day, we ask ourselves, where did my time go? The same goes for the people we surround ourselves with. One of Musk's advice for those who want to start their own company is to attract great people.
Building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that have gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company.
Musk admits that it's hard. to work for him, but only because he is so laser-focused on his goals. As written by Ashley Vance in the Elon Musk biography, SpaceX hiring managers would tell new recruits, if you want as hard as it gets, then great. If not, then you shouldn't come here. Isn't the same true about your personal aspirations and goals? Surrounding yourselves with amazing people that you value and respect impacts a great deal on how you shape your habits and personality. Are you hanging out with people with very different objectives in life? Or are you spending time with those who make you want to be a better person? Perhaps one of the most inspiring things about Elon Musk is that he never loses sight of his motivation. He deliberately chose the industries of sustainable energy and space exploration because he believes they directly impact our humanity's future. Musk says that he's just trying to make useful things. That's a nice aspiration, and useful means it is of value to the rest of society. I think we should try to make the future better. His ideology is so simple, yet it is the driving force that makes his company successful in achieving their milestones. Yes, it can be overwhelming to work on something that can potentially change the way we live in the next decade. But it is this kind of motivation that pushes his employees to bring out world-class results. On one popular incident, Musk ordered Steve Davis, formerly a SpaceX engineer and now president of the Boring Company, to build a part of the Falcon 1 rocket. Davis estimated that it will cost them $120,000, but Musk insisted that they only spend $5,000, surprising Davis and the whole team. Steve Davis eventually succeeded in making the part for the rocket for only $3,900. Elon Musk believes he never sets impossible goals. Aggressive and tight schedules, yes, but he thinks impossible goals are demotivating.